Okay. I know, reading the title may be a bit jarring, but hear me out. I loved Smile. I've seen it twice. I gave it a 9 out of 10, and my rating still stands. It's genuinely the best horror film I've seen in years. Smile is on record now as the first film to genuinely terrify me since 2016 with Lights Out, and that was because I was 13. After seeing Smile the first time, it kept me up at least 2 hours every night for 3 days straight. I'd try to sleep and boom, I can't get the creature's face out of my mind. And I'm not talking about the smiling one that you see all the time in the trailers, like the creature in its final form. When this is a brief spoiler, but this will have a spoiler warning in the title. The finale takes place in a cabin. So when they're in the cabin, the creature in there, I have no words to describe it. It genuinely unnerved me, and it just filled me with a sense of dread. And the second time I watched the film, I didn't even look at the screen during the finale for the last 15 minutes. I couldn't look. That is seriously how messed up it got for me. But there is a little bit more to it. Me and the main character have the same trauma, almost play for play. But personally, I'd like to think it wasn't a personal thing for me, but it definitely was a personal thing for me as to why I probably enjoyed this movie a lot, besides the fact that it was really, really well done. Smile does a fantastic job with its editing, and Parker Finn is a fantastic director following this film. I haven't seen any of his other films or anything else that he's made, but if this is his sample work, it is phenomenal. The sound, and then we get on to Sosie Bacon. She does a fantastic job, and I thought she nailed it, and I didn't know she was Kevin Bacon's daughter until after I watched it the first time, and after hearing that she was Kevin Bacon's daughter, I was like, well, now I know why she was such a great actor in the film. She literally got it from her dad. But after this brief little introduction, let's get on to the topic and the title. Sosie Bacon plays a therapist who works in the ER of her hospital, so she deals with people who need help ASAP. So you could put it together, she deals with some wild people. However, I'm not here to go full in depth in explaining the film. I'm more so here to get to the topic of hand. So after she's been cursed, her mind begins to deteriorate, and she goes farther and farther down the rabbit hole of insanity. Spoiler warning for those who are still here, the demonic being in the film breaks people down before killing them. As we know, the victims do not commit suicide like the trailer likes to let on. It's actually the demon itself killing them. The smile is what gives it away. There is dispute on if it needs to do this or if it just enjoys doing it. I'm personally in the boat of thinking it enjoys doing it because you can see it warps reality. Like before Sosie gets cursed, she doesn't even believe Laura. And then afterwards she gets cursed, she's in the same boat. No one believes her. Reality is warping, and her mind is just deteriorating. The demonic being shows no signs of it needs to kill people after breaking them down, because some people don't even live after a few days. But later in the film, after she finds herself in that situation, things get worse and worse for her. She begins to act more manic, and she begins to truly act crazy, and no one is believing her. Her therapist, her husband or fiance, soon-to-be husband, her sister, no one. She is all alone. This isn't the bad part about the title, however. They're doing a very good job at shining light on what it is a person struggling with this type of mental illness typically goes through. The trauma being, she still has guilt over her mother's suicide. She was there when it happened, and her mother regretted it, and she asked her to call for help, but she didn't because she was afraid of her mom. She was 10. So as the film progresses and the torment gets worse and worse, we see her make the choice to lock herself away alone, figuring if no one is there to witness her suicide, the curse will end. And then during this plan is when we finally get a look at the monster, and Sosie Bacon does fight back and seemingly defeats it. But she makes a crucial mistake. She's alone. People with these types of illnesses should not be alone. And the monster isolates them, makes them think they are crazy, and it is so perfectly well done. And I know I'm hopping back and forth by saying, oh, it's bad, but it's good, but I will get into that. Because as we've seen before, some people do overcome trauma. Some people relapse, and some people just can't deal with it and do the unthinkable. And Sosie has a big speech to the demon in the final battle where she's overcoming her trauma, and she's like, "You're stuck in here with me, I'm not stuck in here with you." And after she defeats the demon, we see her go to her ex-boyfriend's apartment and ask him to stay with her while she sleeps. He says he will stay forever. It was the demon the whole time, playing one last trick on her. And this is the moment that I am talking about. This is the exact moment that the title is referring to. The film goes on this massive journey of her overcoming her mental health and her trauma, rising up and defeating the demon, only for her to fail and succumb to her mental health issues and to be forced into a murder-suicide. This is a very slippery slope. I know some people like to say horror movies don't paint mental health in that good of a light. This is different because the main character has trauma, and it's such a big part of the film where it's really on a very, very tight edge to say, is it distasteful or is it good for the movie? But it shows her basically taking the easy way out. Not willingly, but she did do it. She does commit suicide in front of Joel, the boyfriend, and the curse goes on to him. The movie is showing she wasn't strong enough mentally to defeat the demon. Now, some people think the demon is unbeatable, and it, if it infects someone who is perfectly sane, things will happen and they'll fail too. But as we've seen, it's picking mentally weak people. But even though this is an extremely dangerous idea to put out there of someone having mental health issues and then them committing suicide and losing in the film, we've seen it done before. In some films and TV, it was distasteful. But I think it worked here. I don't think it was distasteful. It does a wonderful job of representing what they go through. And it shows not everyone has a happy ending. And some people do, unfortunately, commit suicide. It's a real issue that needs more money and time spent into helping others. And hopefully that will happen. Like, we've seen many horror movies where a protagonist wins and like many where they don't. It's no different in this one. In this one, our protagonist does lose, and she just happens to have a lot of big mental health issues to play into her character. So yes, this movie may have a bad unintended message of she has mental health issues and she loses and she commits suicide. But you don't have to have it sway your opinion on watching it. It's easily one of the better films of the year, in my opinion. And if you yourself are struggling with any thoughts or ideas or just need someone to chat with, there are resources down below that I am going to put in the description. Just no one is alone out there. But this has been my little discussion thread about Smile. Thank you.